We've all heard it before. Silence is powerful. And while that's undeniably true, let's take a deeper look. Silence can command respect, create an air of mystery, and leave others wondering what's going on in your mind. It's been a weapon in the hands of the greatest minds, leaders, and strategists for centuries. But here's the question I want you to really consider. Is silence always enough? Can staying quiet truly give you the upper hand in every situation? Or is there a more refined strategy, one that goes beyond silence and taps into a deeper, more undeniable form of influence? Welcome back to Unlock Desire, the place where we unlock timeless Stoic wisdom and fuse it with cutting-edge insights from psychology to help you master your mind, your presence, and ultimately, your life. Today, I'm introducing a bold concept, a strategy that outshines silence itself. Yes, silence has its place. It's an essential tool, no doubt about it, but it has its limits. What I'm about to share with you isn't just another tip. This is a game-changing approach that will not only leave an impression, it will ingrain your presence in the minds of others, making you unforgettable. Picture this. What if you could wield your presence so intentionally, so with such precision, that it shifts the power dynamic in your favor, not just in the moment, but in the long term? It's not about shouting louder, forcing your way into a conversation, or making desperate gestures for attention. No, it's about subtlety. It's about moving with purpose, leaving a mark so profound that others can't help but feel the ripple of your influence even after you've left the room. When you combine this approach with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics and the sharp edges of dark psychology, you enter a realm of influence that very few ever reach. The Stoics were masters of presence. They understood that real power doesn't stem from how much you speak or how loudly you demand attention. True power is found in intentionality. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This profound wisdom speaks to the essence of what I'm sharing with you today. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the deliberate presence of strength, a strength that doesn't fade away when you leave, but grows in its absence, leaving others to wonder what kind of force just passed through their lives. This, my friend, is the strategy we're diving into. And why does this matter? Because in every interaction you have, whether it's in relationships, business, or even in your personal growth, you hold the power to influence. But influence isn't always about what you say. It's about how you make others feel when you're around, how you mold their perception of you, and how you leave an indelible imprint on their minds. If you've ever felt that silence alone didn't make the impact you wanted, or if you've ever wondered how to amplify your presence without speaking a single word, then this video is for you. Trust me, what you're about to learn will reshape how you approach your life. But before we dive into this transformative strategy, I have a simple but powerful request. If you're here because you're ready to master your presence, not just to exist, but to dominate in the right way, take a moment to like this video. It's a small step, but it's a powerful declaration that you're ready to grow. Then, drop a comment below with this phrase, "I use my presence wisely." Write it down. Say it aloud. Believe it. Because mastering your presence is where your journey to greatness begins. Now let's start by revisiting silence. Because before we can fully appreciate why something better exists, we must first understand why silence is so effective. For centuries, silence has been a cornerstone of influence. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus famously said, "Silence is safer than speech." And it's true. Silence protects your energy. It prevents you from saying things you'll regret. But perhaps most powerfully, silence creates an aura of mystery. People can't help but wonder, what is he thinking? That simple uncertainty often holds more power than words could ever express. Think about it. In a world saturated with noise and endless chatter, silence is rare. When you stay quiet, you create a vacuum. People rush to fill that empty space with their own assumptions, fears, and thoughts. It's psychological gravity at work. Silence forces others to project their inner worlds onto you, often giving you more credit or influence than you would have claimed outright. But the real magic of silence doesn't just lie in what it doesn't do, it's in the contrast it creates with the surrounding noise. People are bombarded with noise every day. Opinions, arguments, banter, distractions. Silence breaks that pattern. It makes people stop. It forces them to pay attention, and when used strategically, silence grants you control. It allows you to set the tone, to shape the narrative, without saying a word. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you're in a heated conversation. Someone throws accusations your way, trying to provoke a reaction. What do most people do? They jump in, defend themselves, explain their side. But not you. You stay silent. You maintain eye contact, calm and steady. You let their words hang in the air. What happens next? They start to squirm. Their words lose their power. They begin to second-guess themselves. Suddenly, they realize they've lost control of the situation. That's the power of silence. And this isn't just for moments of conflict. Silence works in all kinds of interactions, relationships, negotiations, even casual conversations. When you remain quiet, people lean in. They want to know more. They crave your attention. They want to understand you because they feel the pull of your presence, even without a word being spoken. But here's the crucial truth. Silence works because of its rarity. When it's used too often, though, it starts to lose its power. Silence that becomes predictable doesn't carry weight. It becomes just another passive state of being. And this is where we start to see its limitations. The truth is, silence by itself isn't always enough. Sure, it creates intrigue. Sure, it sets you apart in a world that's filled with noise. But there are moments when silence leaves too much to the imagination. Moments when your absence isn't felt the way it should be. There are times when people stop wondering and start assuming. And that's when silence begins to lose its hold. That's why silence, despite its undeniable strength, needs to be part of something bigger. A strategy that pairs the quiet force of silence with deliberate, calculated action. And this is where the Stoics have something truly profound to teach us. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Silence, in its purest form, is a way to control your internal reactions. It's the embodiment of self-mastery, but the Stoics didn't stay silent just for the sake of it. They understood the power of purpose-driven silence when it served their intentions, and when silence alone wasn't enough, they acted with the precision of a master strategist. So yes, silence is powerful, but it's only the beginning. There's a strategy that takes everything great about silence and elevates it to something greater. A way to combine the mystery of silence with the undeniable impact of calculated action. And that's what we're about to uncover. Before we dive in, let me ask you, have you ever truly felt the power of silence in your life? If so, take a moment right now to acknowledge that power. Like this video and drop a comment below saying, "I master silence and action." Say it out loud, write it down, own it. Because silence is just step one. If silence is the art of saying nothing, then presence is the art of saying everything without ever uttering a word. And here's the deeper truth. While silence creates mystery, presence creates power. It's the force that makes you unforgettable. It makes your impact undeniable. Presence is what allows you to command attention, to shape perceptions, and to leave an indelible mark on everyone you encounter. The Stoics had an extraordinary understanding of this balance. Marcus Aurelius also said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What this means is that your presence, how you move, how you speak, how you hold space, is a direct reflection of your internal world. When your thoughts are strong, focused, and intentional, that strength radiates through your body language, your energy, your demeanor. And that's why presence is so powerful. It's silence, but with substance. Here's where things get truly fascinating. Presence leaves a psychological weight on everyone around you. Think about this. Imagine you walk into a room and someone is already there, someone who exudes calm confidence. They don't have to say a word. Their mere energy fills the space, demanding attention. Their presence is undeniable, and even after they've left, their influence lingers in the minds of everyone they encountered. That's the psychological weight of presence. It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about being intentional. Standing tall, making eye contact, holding yourself with quiet confidence sends a powerful message. I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. That's the kind of energy that turns heads and shifts dynamics. Now let's introduce the darker side of psychology. Human beings are hardwired to respond to subtle cues, your posture, your facial expressions, your body language. These nonverbal signals speak directly to the subconscious mind. When you carry yourself with composure, people automatically assume you're in control. When you move with purpose, people naturally think you have a plan. And when your presence feels intentional, people are subconsciously compelled to take you seriously. Here's the kicker. When you pair this kind of deliberate presence with strategic silence, the effect is magnified tenfold. But presence isn't just about what others see. It's about how you feel. When you cultivate your presence, you're training yourself to stay grounded, no matter what the world throws your way. The Stoics believed that true self-mastery begins within. Epictetus once said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." When you master your mind, you stop projecting anxiety. Your presence becomes steady, unshakable, and most importantly, deeply impactful. Let me give you an example. Imagine walking into a room and there's someone you deeply admire sitting there. They don't even acknowledge your presence directly, but their energy fills the room. Without even trying, they magnetize you. You can't help but wonder what makes them so captivating. It's the psychological weight of presence. It's not about what they say or don't say. It's about the energy they project. And the best part, you can cultivate that same magnetic energy for yourself. Here's why all of this matters. Silence can make people wonder about you, but presence makes them remember you. When you combine the two, silence and presence, you create an undeniable force, a dynamic energy that not only leaves a lasting impression, but shifts the very atmosphere around you. And here's the best part. Presence doesn't need anyone's permission. It doesn't ask for validation. It simply is. Your presence is your declaration of self-mastery, your proof that you've risen above the noise, carved out your space in this world, and claimed your power. Let me ask you a question. How do you show up in the spaces you occupy? Are you merely existing there, or are you truly present? If you're ready to transform your presence into something magnetic, something that commands attention and leaves an impact that lasts, then I want you to take action right now. Like this video and comment below, I master my presence. Because your presence isn't just what others see, it's what they feel. The Stoics, those ancient masters of wisdom, knew something profound. Words can only take you so far, but true power lies in your actions. While silence and presence are essential building blocks, they're incomplete without the one element that truly drives change: deliberate, purposeful action. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most celebrated Stoics, wrote, "You must become an old man in good time if you wish to be an old man long." What he meant is that your future, your legacy, and even your influence aren't shaped by the words you speak or the silence you keep, but by the actions you take today. Action is the bridge between your intentions and the reality you wish to create. It's how you breathe life into your presence and add substance to your silence. Here's the magic of it. Actions don't need to be grandiose or attention-grabbing to be powerful. The Stoics understood that the most impactful actions are often the most subtle, the deliberate, calculated moves that speak louder than 1,000 hasty words. Think about it. Imagine you're in the midst of a disagreement. While others might be raising their voices or scrambling to defend their position, you stay calm. You listen. You observe. And when the moment is right, you act, not to prove a point, but to steer the conversation towards something meaningful. That single act, done with purpose and precision, communicates more than any argument ever could. That's Stoic action, controlled, strategic, and impossible to ignore. Now, let's weave in some powerful dark psychology. Humans are wired to be deeply influenced by what they see, often more than what they hear. When you take action, especially visible, deliberate action, it shapes how others perceive you. People react to movement, not noise. If they see you consistently moving toward your goals, staying composed amid chaos, or making meaningful strides without seeking validation, they won't just respect you, they'll feel your strength. The Stoics were masters at this. They didn't waste energy on convincing or arguing with others. They focused on what they could control, their own actions. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This idea translates perfectly into action. Don't crave attention. Don't seek validation. Instead, take purposeful action that aligns with your values, and let that speak volumes. The more deliberate you are with your actions, the more powerful your presence becomes. But here's the kicker. Action isn't just about how others perceive you. It's about you, about cultivating a deep trust in your own abilities. Every time you follow through, every time you show up for your goals, you build confidence in yourself. And that self-trust, that's the foundation of everything. The Stoics believed that mastering oneself is the highest form of power, and action is the path to that mastery. You can't think your way into strength, you act your way into it. This brings us back to our strategy. Silence creates mystery. Presence commands attention, but it's action, purposeful, calculated action, that solidifies your impact. When you combine silence and presence with deliberate action, you create a dynamic force that's impossible to overlook. You're not just someone who stands out. You're someone who leaves a lasting mark. Think about it. Every action you take, no matter how small, sends a message. Are your actions telling the world that you're calm, composed, and in control, or are they scattered, reactive, and unfocused? The Stoics remind us that every choice we make reflects who we are. So choose actions that reflect your strength and integrity. Let me ask you, When was the last time your actions spoke louder than your words? If you're ready to embrace the Stoic principle of purposeful action, take a moment now. Like this video and comment below. My actions define me because words can fade into the background, but actions leave a legacy. Now let's elevate this even further by diving into the hidden forces that shape how others perceive you. This is where dark psychology truly comes into play. While Stoicism teaches us how to master our own minds, dark psychology shows us how to understand the minds of others. And no, it's not about manipulation. It's about awareness. Awareness of how subtle actions, body language, and even silence can influence how people think about you. Here's the truth. Perception is reality. How others perceive you shapes how they respond to you, how they treat you, and even how they think about you when you're not around. The Stoics understood this, even if they didn't call it dark psychology. As Epictetus said, first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the key to mastering perception. Decide how you want to be seen, and then align your actions, presence, and even your silence to reflect that image. Let me give you a real-world example. Picture yourself walking into a room full of strangers. If you slouch, avoid eye contact, and fidget nervously, what are you signaling? Uncertainty, lack of control. But now imagine the same scenario, only this time you walk in standing tall, shoulders back, making steady eye contact. Without saying a word, you've already influenced how people perceive you. That's perception management in action. It's about using those subtle cues, your posture, your energy, the way you move, to project strength, even in silence. Here's where dark psychology gives you the ultimate edge. People are constantly reading and reacting to subconscious signals, your body language, facial expressions, the way you move. They interpret these signals instinctively. If you appear calm and confident, they'll assume you're in control. If you act with intention, they'll see you as decisive and capable. And when you combine these traits with strategic silence, you become magnetic. People won't just notice you, they'll think about you long after you've left the room. Let's take things to the next level. Perception management isn't just about exuding confidence. It's about creating intrigue, about leaving people curious, captivated by your every move. When your actions are deliberate and intentional, but not overly explained, people can't help but wonder about your motives. They'll start asking themselves, why did he do that? What's his plan? What does he know that I don't? That feeling of curiosity? That's power in its purest form. It keeps you in their thoughts long after you've left the room, subtly shaping their perception of you, even when you're not around. The Stoics, long before modern psychology even coined terms like perception management, understood this principle. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In a similar vein, you shouldn't fear how others perceive you. Instead, you should fear failing to take control of that perception. Your actions shape how you are seen. Every move you make, every moment of silence, every decision, whether spoken or unspoken, contributes to how people view you. But here's the most important thing. Managing perception isn't about being fake or manipulating the narrative. It's about aligning your outward presence with who you truly are, or who you're becoming. When your actions, your silence, and your presence reflect your inner clarity and strength, you're not just managing perception, you're building your reputation. And that reputation? It's a kind of power that cannot be easily shaken or taken away. So how do you take this powerful concept and put it into practice? It starts with small, conscious changes. Pay attention to the way you carry yourself. Notice the messages you're sending through your body language, your expressions, your actions. Ask yourself, are these signals aligned with the person I want to be? If not, then it's time to make adjustments. Perception isn't set in stone. It's malleable, and you shape it every day. Think about it. What impression are you leaving right now? Are you projecting the kind of energy you want others to notice and remember? If you're ready to take control of how you're perceived, affirm it now. Like this video and comment below. I shape my reality, because the way you're perceived is your responsibility. It's about you taking command of your presence. Now that we've explored the power of silence, presence, and perception, let's dive deeper into the strategy that ties it all together. Controlled visibility. This is a game-changing approach that weaves together the mystery of silence, the impact of presence, and the disciplined action of Stoicism. Controlled visibility isn't about being everywhere or nowhere. It's about showing up when it matters most. It's about making yourself visible with purpose and leaving an impression so strong that it's impossible for anyone to ignore. Here's the essence of controlled visibility. You don't need to be constantly in someone's life to make an impact. In fact, the more available you are, the less value your presence holds. The Stoics knew this truth well. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Controlled visibility is about recognizing your own worth and showcasing it with precision. It's about choosing the right moments to engage, the right ways to show up, and the right actions to take that will leave a lasting mark. Let me break it down for you. Controlled visibility means being intentional about when and how you present yourself. Instead of being loud and constantly present, you focus on quality over quantity. For instance, rather than sending countless texts or calls, you reach out only with purpose. Rather than attending every event or meeting, you make sure the moments you do show up count. This creates a sense of exclusivity, and people respect and value what's rare. Your presence becomes a commodity that's cherished, not taken for granted. This is where dark psychology comes into play. People are naturally drawn to what feels exclusive, what feels intentional. If you're always available, they'll subconsciously take you for granted. But when your visibility is controlled, when you appear only at the right moments, with calculated actions, it forces them to pay attention. They'll start to wonder, why is he here now? What's his purpose? What's he thinking? That feeling of curiosity, it makes you unforgettable. That's the power of controlled visibility. It creates intrigue, respect, and leaves a lasting impression. But here's the twist. Controlled visibility isn't just about absence. It's about strategic presence. When you do show up, you do so with purpose and clarity. Your body language is strong. Your actions are intentional. Your words are carefully chosen. And when you leave behind a void that others can't ignore. It's not just about being seen. It's about being felt. The Stoics believed that everything you do should align with your values and purpose, and this is where controlled visibility gives you the chance to put that wisdom into action. Marcus Aurelius said, "Let your thoughts be ruled by principles." Controlled visibility is your opportunity to live this through every move you make. Let's put this into a practical scenario. Imagine you've been silent in a social circle or relationship for some time. Instead of reappearing randomly, you show up at just the right moment. A pivotal conversation, a key event, or a time when your presence will truly add value. When you speak, you're concise and composed. When you act, it's with laser-like precision. And when you leave behind a memory, an imprint that lingers far after you're gone. That's controlled visibility. It's silence with intention, presence with purpose. But here's the most important part of all. Controlled visibility isn't just about influencing others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about knowing when to step back and focus on your own growth, and when to step forward and make an impact. The Stoics believed that true power comes from mastering oneself. Controlled visibility is your chance to practice that self-mastery. It requires discipline, patience, and deep confidence in your own value. And when you get it right, it transforms not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. Let me ask you this. How often are you truly showing up in ways that matter? Are you stepping into the moments that will leave a mark? Or are you spreading yourself too thin, trying to be everywhere all at once? If you're ready to elevate your presence and master the art of controlled visibility, pause for a moment, take a breath. Like this video and comment below, I choose when to be seen, because what we're about to dive into isn't just a strategy. It's a lifestyle that transforms how the world sees you. Now that you understand the power of controlled visibility, let's explore how to make this principle come alive in your daily life. Controlled visibility isn't just a mindset. It's a deliberate strategy you can use to revolutionize every area of your life, from your relationships to your career and even your personal growth. It's about striking the perfect balance between presence and absence, between silence and action. Achieving this requires more than just knowledge. It requires discipline, timing, and an unwavering belief in your own value. Step 1. Self-awareness. Before you can truly control how others perceive you, you need to deeply understand yourself. Reflect on this. What impression do you want to leave behind? What values do you want your actions to communicate? This level of self-reflection is key, and it's something the Stoics emphasized throughout their teachings. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your actions align with your principles, your presence becomes undeniable, authentic, and powerful. Controlled visibility begins with the clarity of knowing who you are and what you stand for. Step 2. Choose your moments wisely. Quality always trumps quantity when it comes to presence. You don't need to be in every conversation or attend every event to make an impact. The true power of controlled visibility comes from identifying and showing up during the moments where your presence will have the most value. For instance, in a relationship, this might mean showing up during a difficult heart-to-heart conversation when your voice really matters. In your career, it could be contributing at the crucial moment when your unique insights can shift the entire direction of a project. By being selective, your presence becomes something people value. It's no longer taken for granted. Step 3. Make your actions deliberate. When you do decide to show up, make sure it counts. Every word, every gesture, every movement should reflect your purpose and align with your values. Speak with confidence, stand tall, and move with intention. Even the smallest gestures, like how you greet someone or the way you listen, can leave an unforgettable impression when they are done purposefully. The Stoics believed in the power of meaningful action over empty words. Seneca wisely said, "Words that are devoid of truth are meaningless." With controlled visibility, you make your actions speak louder than any words ever could. leaving a lasting impact long after you've left the room. Step 4. Practice strategic absence. Absence doesn't mean disappearing entirely. It's about stepping back at the right moments to let others feel the weight of your absence. When you're always available, your presence loses its value, but when you make yourself scarce at the right times, it amplifies your significance. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about allowing your absence to create space, making people appreciate you more when you do show up. Remember, absence doesn't diminish your influence. It heightens it when it's used with intention. Step 5. Be unpredictable. One of the most powerful elements of controlled visibility is keeping others on their toes. When people can't predict when or how you'll show up, it creates an air of intrigue. Dark psychology teaches us that unpredictability fuels curiosity and respect. You don't want your actions to become so predictable that people take you for granted. Sometimes, silence is your strongest move. Other times, a single deliberate action can completely shift the energy in a room. Keep people guessing about your next move and watch how their curiosity and respect for you grow. Step 6. Focus on consistency over time. Controlled visibility isn't about one grand moment. It's about the gradual building of a reputation. Every selective moment, every intentional action works together to shape how you are seen. The Stoics knew that greatness isn't built overnight. As Epictetus wisely said, no great thing is created suddenly. Stick with the strategy. Stay disciplined. Trust that each calculated move is a step toward creating a powerful and lasting impression that will shape how others perceive you over time. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine someone who only speaks when they have something valuable to say, who appears at the most impactful moments, and whose actions always align with their values. Wouldn't you respect them? Wouldn't you remember them? That's the person you're becoming. When you master controlled visibility, you're not just seen, you're felt. Your presence isn't something people just notice. It's something they feel long after you've left. Now, let me ask you, how deliberate are you about how you show up? Are you making your presence count, or are you spreading yourself too thin? If you're ready to execute controlled visibility and leave a lasting mark on every area of your life, take action now. Like this video and comment below. I show up with purpose, because this isn't just a tactic. It's a way of living that will transform how you approach every interaction, every opportunity, and every relationship. And here's the psychological principle that makes controlled visibility even more powerful. The contrast principle. Rooted deeply in Stoicism and dark psychology, this principle is the secret weapon behind amplifying the impact of your actions, your presence, and even your absence. It's simple, but profoundly impactful. Value is heightened when it's experienced in contrast to something else. Silence becomes powerful after noise. Presence feels magnetic when it disrupts absence. Action becomes impactful when it's contrasted with hesitation. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things." Contrast shapes perception. When you alternate between being unavailable and acting with laser focus, people's perceptions of you shift. Your silence stops being just silence. It becomes a statement. Your presence isn't just an event. It becomes something significant. By mastering the contrast principle, you'll create an aura of intrigue, forcing others to notice and pay attention to what they might otherwise overlook. Let me paint a vivid picture for you. Imagine someone who is always present, always speaking, always available. At first, their presence may seem important, but over time, it loses its spark. It becomes expected, not valued. Now contrast that with someone who is often quiet, composed, and deliberate in their actions. This person doesn't speak often, but when they do, their words carry weight. When they step forward, their actions are purposeful and impactful. That contrast between silence and action, absence and presence, makes their impact unforgettable. It's not just what they do, it's how and when they do it that makes them memorable. This is where dark psychology taps into something deep within us. Our brains are wired to pay attention to changes. We're instinctively drawn to shifts in behavior, patterns, and availability. When you alternate between silence and action, presence and absence, you ignite curiosity in others. People can't help but wonder, why is he so quiet now? What's he planning? What's his next move? This psychological pull keeps you on their mind, even when you're not physically there. The impact of this contrast doesn't just stay in the mind, it resonates emotionally. Absence makes people long for your presence, and a well-timed action forces them to rethink moments of silence. This is the brilliance of controlled visibility. It harnesses the contrast principle to make every action feel more powerful. When you choose to be absent, your return feels more significant. Your silence feels profound. Your words become sharper, your actions bolder, and the most remarkable part? You don't even have to explain yourself. Your presence speaks for itself. But here's the thing. The contrast principle isn't only about how you impact others. It's also about how you understand yourself. The Stoics believed in the power of reflecting on contrasts to cultivate gratitude, awareness, and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This powerful reflection on the contrasts between life and death, between opportunity and regret, helps you focus on what truly matters. By embracing the contrast principle, you not only shape how others perceive you, but you also sharpen your own sense of purpose. So, how do you wield the contrast principle to its fullest potential? It's about being intentional with your shifts. Don't disappear or reappear without purpose. Do it with intention. For example, take a step back when your presence is being taken for granted, and then step forward with conviction when it will create the greatest impact. Build a pattern, but ensure it's unpredictable. When your actions are too easy to predict, they lose their power. The true strength of contrast lies in its unpredictability. If people can guess your next move, the element of surprise, the emotional punch, is gone. Instead, make your moves bold and decisive. When you emerge from a period of silence or absence, your re-entry should feel monumental and purposeful. Let's take a moment to reflect. When controlled visibility and the contrast principle are combined, the result is nothing short of magnetic. Imagine how people will start to associate your absence with anticipation and your presence with undeniable impact. That's the power of contrast. It doesn't just leave an impression, it leaves them wanting more. Now, ask yourself this. Are you creating those powerful contrasts in the way you show up in the world? Are you leaving enough space for others to feel your absence and truly appreciate your presence? If you're ready to master the art of the contrast principle and make your impact undeniable, take action right now. Like this video and comment below, my impact is undeniable. Because when you combine presence, purpose, and the power of contrast, you don't just exist, you dominate. Now let's get to the heart of everything we've discussed. Empowerment through mastery, controlled visibility, deliberate action, and the contrast principle are all valuable tools. But the true power lies in mastering yourself first. This is the core of Stoicism. The Stoics believed that true influence, true power, and true fulfillment come from self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Empowerment isn't about controlling others, it's about controlling yourself. It's about understanding that the way you carry yourself, the way you act, and the way you appear to others all start from within. Your presence, your silence, and your actions are only as powerful as the mindset behind them. Mastering yourself means developing the discipline to act with intention and the confidence to stay silent when it serves you better. Let's break this down. Self-mastery begins with your mindset. The Stoics taught that your thoughts shape your reality. Epictetus said, "Man is not disturbed by things, but by the views he takes of them." This means that how you respond to situations, how you manage your emotions, and how you maintain control over your own actions are entirely in your hands. When you train your mind to remain steady in the face of pressure, to stay calm in chaos, your inner strength becomes palpable. That's where empowerment begins, with your ability to stay grounded, no matter what's happening around you. The next layer of mastery is discipline. True mastery requires consistency, and consistency is built through habits. It's the small, everyday actions, the unwavering commitment to your personal growth, that create the foundation for your presence and power. When you show up for yourself consistently, whether through physical training, mental exercises, or emotional resilience, you build trust in your own abilities. And when you trust yourself, others will sense that strength. You'll command respect, not because you demand it, but because you project it effortlessly. So, as you take these principles and apply them to your life, remember, the greatest power comes from within. Master yourself, and the world will follow. Here's the incredible truth. When you master yourself, you stop seeking validation from the outside world. You no longer chase approval, attention, or accolades because you already know your worth. That's the secret power behind controlled visibility. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about showing up with unwavering clarity, confidence, and purpose, knowing that your mere presence is already enough. You don't need to shout for attention. Your energy, your confidence, and your authenticity speak volumes. But let's take this a step deeper. Mastery isn't just about internal strength. It's about alignment. When your presence, your silence, and your actions align with your deepest values, you exude authenticity, a rare magnetic quality that others can't ignore. Think about it. Authenticity is contagious. People are drawn to those who walk the talk, who practice what they preach. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." True mastery doesn't come from accumulating more. It comes from being enough. And when you embrace that truth, it radiates from you. Now, let's circle back to controlled visibility. Once you've mastered yourself, you no longer need to overcompensate with constant noise or endless presence. Your energy becomes a statement of its own. When you act, it's purposeful. When you're silent, it carries weight. When you're absent, it's felt in the core. This is the power of self-mastery. It amplifies every single strategy we've discussed because it starts with you, from within. But here's the raw reality. The journey to self-mastery isn't easy. It demands patience, deep self-reflection, and the courage to face your own weaknesses. It requires discipline. Discipline to stay true to your values, even when it's tough. To stay consistent in your actions, even when external forces try to shake you. But when you commit to this journey, the rewards are worth it. Mastery isn't just about influencing others, it's about inspiring them. When you've mastered yourself, your presence becomes a reminder of what's possible. Your absence, however, becomes a call to reflect on what's been lost. That's the true meaning of empowerment. Let me ask you this. Are you in control of your mind, your actions, and your energy? Or are you letting external events dictate who you are? If you're ready to stop being a passive observer in your life and start taking full ownership of it through self-mastery, then take action right now. Like this video and comment below with "I am the master of my life," because real power doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from mastering yourself. Now we've come full circle. We began by exploring the power of silence, presence, deliberate action, and the art of contrast. But through all of this, one truth remains. Your greatest power doesn't lie in controlling others. It lies in controlling yourself. Every strategy we've covered, whether it's controlled visibility, purposeful action, or leveraging contrast, gains its true power from the mind and discipline behind it. The Stoics understood that life isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to it. Marcus Aurelius beautifully put it. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is your invitation. Every moment is an opportunity to live intentionally, to act with purpose, and to carry yourself with the kind of quiet confidence that shows the world you know your worth. Controlled visibility isn't just a strategy. It's a reflection of your ability to move through the world with unshakable clarity and focus. But here's where the transformation happens. Everything we've talked about only works if you apply it. Knowledge without action is nothing, so I challenge you to make these principles part of your life today. Start small. Practice silence when it's necessary. Step back when it serves you better. And then, when the moment calls for it, show up with purpose, with presence, and with such deliberate action that it leaves a lasting mark. Controlled visibility isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things at the right time. Think about it. What would happen to your relationships, your career, or even your day-to-day interactions if you started living with this kind of intention? Imagine walking into every room, every conversation, every opportunity with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who doesn't just exist, but commands respect. That's what happens when you master yourself, your presence, and your actions. You don't just leave an impression, you leave a legacy. But let's face the truth. This journey will not always be smooth. Self-mastery requires grit. Controlled visibility demands patience. And building a presence that speaks louder than words takes time. But here's the beauty of it. If you stay consistent, if you stay committed, the results will speak for themselves. People will begin responding to you differently. They'll lean in when you speak, they'll respect your silence, and they'll feel the impact of your absence. That's the power of these strategies, and that's the power of becoming the true master of your life. Now, I have one final question for you. What will you do next? Will you continue blending into the background, or will you choose to show up with purpose and intention? If you're ready to take full control of your presence, your actions, and your impact, here's what I need you to do. Like this video right now. It's a small step, but it's the first of many deliberate actions. Then, drop a comment below with "I leave a legacy." Say it, write it, believe it, because that's the level of impact you're about to step into. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Stoic Blessing and turn on notifications so you never miss another video that will help you become the most powerful, grounded version of yourself. This is your journey to mastery, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Remember, the power of your silence, your presence, and your actions isn't just about being noticed. It's about making your life a testament to your strength and purpose. Keep rising, keep mastering yourself, and keep blessing the world with your power. I'll see you in the next video.